Tres Amigos, former football coaches turned insurance agents to talk about Texas Aggie football.
All right, guys, welcome to Tres Amigos, episode 2516. It was a tough weekend, tough game. The good news is we're still in the playoffs. We're still fighting for a really good seed, and at worst, we're looking at hosting a home playoff game, and that's a great thing for our A&M. That's a great thing for the fans, for the players, for the coaches. So, want to thank everybody again. Had over 3,300 views on last week's podcast on YouTube. Really appreciate all the comments, likes, shares, all those things. I can tell people are texting your buddies. I really appreciate that. Hope you continue to do that. We're right about at 1,400 subscribers, and like I said, we wanted to get to 1,500 before the end of the year. So hopefully we can get there. Just gotta keep going, kind of like we need the Aggies to keep going. So we'll get going into this game, and today we're going to talk a little bit about obviously the game, what we saw. We're going to talk about the new SEC coaches hires, and then we're going to revisit our preseason predictions, because I hate to say it, one of us did get the end of the season record right, although he did predict us making it to Atlanta. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. But he did get the overall record right. So, Mark, what do you want to say before we get going on this deal?
I would just like to say the sky is not falling.
Nope.
I know that, when we go into these games on Thanksgiving that we haven't had in a while, that I was the same way when I was young. If they went 1-9 or 1-10 back in the day, but they won that game, I was good. But that's not right. And so I think it was a good time to kind of get checked a little bit. I think that we saw that a little bit last year. I remember a team getting beat by their rival and going on to win the whole thing. So let's not forget that. That look, the season's in front of us. It's a different season. So sky's not falling. Let's enjoy this ride. I think it's going to be a good one, no matter what the outcome is. We're in year 2 of a coach. And I know that things are faster in this day and age with coaches building programs, but we're still just in year 2. So I think that's a good thing. So a lot to be happy about and thankful for with this Aggie season.
Absolutely. Seth, what you got before we get rolling?
Same thing. Just, I was upset that not everybody is. It's, but when you zoom out and look at the forest, it's actually pretty awesome. But what Elko's done in year 2, what the whole staff has done, it's pretty great. I would like to revisit the quote he had after the South Carolina game. I'm not going to read you the whole thing, but it was basically he was questioned about the defensive performance. Is this a good visual aid to help with the rest of the year? And he used an analogy and said he was talking to one of our players when he said that, sometimes this generation, they keep trying to touch the stove and they keep getting away with it. He goes, I just hope we can not burn our hand, basically. And that's what happened. We just burned our hand. If you really zoom out, the win isn't ideal. Like, when did this happen? Not ideal. But it's when you think about it from the whole perspective, wow, what progress. Got a lot to play for, like Mark said. Sometimes, and I think I saw other non-SEC, non-Texas or A&M people online. I saw a couple of accounts say, wait, this might actually be good for A&M. They get a home game at Kyle now. They don't have that 4-week bye like you have to deal with sometimes. So anyway, or 3 weeks. So it's a good thing. Be fully healthy for a home game at Kyle. How we got there, I would have taken it in spades at the beginning of the year. So anyway.
Absolutely. All right, so we're going to go good, bad, and ugly on the offensive side of the ball. And so my good was KC. I thought he was probably, unfortunately that evening, one of the few alphas that actually played like an alpha. Had over 127 total yards, 5 for 7 receiving, 1 for 8 rushing, and had a touchdown running it right there before the end of the first half, and had 62 yards on a punt return. And just the way he runs with the ball, how he is incredibly hard to bring down. This punt return kind of shows that. So if you watch when he catches it, the guy should have had him right there. I mean, he's right there. Boom. He gets out of that one, That's 2 missed tackles, and makes a great return, runs between the blocker. I'm not sure what the blocker was doing right there, because he runs between the blocker and the guy he was actually blocking. And the blocker kind of backs off, and the guy didn't make the tackle. So,
Hey, Matt.
Yeah.
Can I just say, as a former equipment manager and a guy who handled equipment at Carthage, the trend of wearing the long
shirt.
T-shirt under that came up a few years ago, and it drove me crazy. And finally, I had to relent to give that to the players. And what I told them was, okay, you can do that, but everybody has to match, because at a high school level, they were doing I wasn't giving them those T-shirts. And so I hate it. I remember when I was in college as an equipment manager, we used to use double-sided like duct tape to tape down the jerseys to the shoulder pads so that you couldn't grab it, especially with the D lineman, And now we've got all this. We don't want to wear knee pads, but we will wear a T-shirt that's 4 times too long just because it looks swag. I don't like it. That's my comment. I'll move on now.
Yeah. All right. Get off your soapbox there, old man. But anyway, and you are right. He makes the tackle by that shirt. But just the effort that guy gives on every play, and how hard he plays. He was the one alpha. So that was my good. Unfortunately, it was not a ton, but that's what I had. So, Seth, what was your good for the offense?
I'm gonna copy you in smaller sample size. But not to be too dramatic about was this moment too big for some of our guys, but I think it might have been. I forgot to use my golf analogies that I like to always use. Like if you've ever been shooting your career round and you're looking at the scorecard after every hole, that's not the right way to do it. Usually it's best to just get to 18 and then look at it at the end and go, okay, what was that? And I felt like we started looking at our scorecard a little bit before this game. Some of our guys did, and thinking, oh, there is a lot on the line tonight, a lot. Even though I will give them that the grace they built in by winning the 11 games in a row gives you the mulligan, to like, hey, we're still okay. But I think that might have been what was happening. And to your point, Matt, like the guys that didn't play that way, that were not looking at the scorecard, KC, and then my guys, EJ Smith, small sample size, but I wanted more. Just gonna be honest with you. I'm not like personnel is a part of this. Like if we're doing this like coaches on the weekend, personnel talk is just as big of a deal, if not bigger, than scheme talk, honestly. Every offensive coordinator has heard a phrase, think players, not plays. And so I'm just trying to do that here. I went back and went to Pro Football Focus to say, I always do this. I use film first, and then I go to Pro Football Focus and say, do stats back me up or do they not? Maybe am I seeing something? And I always skew towards film, period. So Pro Football Focus stats are stats. You can find any stat. But I like to go see, does check box 1, film, check box 2, Pro Football Focus, and it did. So, like, looking at in that game, Texas is playing soft, loose shells, right? We told you this last week, they don't get beat over the top. So how do you beat a team like that? You throw it underneath, and then you add on top of it. When you throw it underneath or run the ball, you can't go down first contact. Like, you need to add. KC adds. Like, we see him do it all the time, right? So, looking back at this, I was like, well, I'm going to go look at a missed tackles forced on Pro Football Focus just to see what this ratio looks like for all of our backs. So I narrowed it down to our top 4. Just going to run through these for you real quick, and you'll see something here. Moss, 72 attempts, 11 missed tackles forced. That's a pretty good ratio. Owens, 113 attempts, 15 missed tackles forced. Not the greatest ratio. Smith, 40 attempts with 11 missed tackles forced. That's a ridiculously good ratio. That's like he is forcing a missed tackle on 1 out of every 4 carries. That's impressive. I don't care.
Does anybody remember the 4th down at Arkansas where he made a guy miss to?
Yes. And Morrow has 8 missed tackles and 44 attempts. Not bad for a true fish. But when you look at that list, and if you're just going to do a simple ratio, Smith has the best ratio. Yards after contact, Owens on the season 2.9, Morrow 2.7. I'm sorry, Morrow 2.7. Moss 3.6, Smith 3.5. So if we're sitting here talking about personnel, just throw it out for a second. Like we're saying, what type of personnel helps us win this game? A running back that's forcing missed tackles, a running back that is adding to the run is what we needed, and we didn't get it. and I think that cycled into more of the bad and the ugly we're going to talk about later too. So Smith was my my guy though. He left me wanting more. I ain't gonna
Can
lie, the little bit we saw him.
I want to compliment not only Smith, I want to compliment his parents
Yes.
because in a world where we have the Deion Sanders and
Hmm.
all the charades with all his sons and all that went on, you've got Emmitt Smith, all-time leading rusher in the NFL.
Hmm.
You never see him on social media trying to prop up his kids. You never hear him pushing his kids on other people. His kid, I mean, what was before here the last, I don't know, 3 or 4 games where he's gotten some carries and gotten some looks and people have started to know. Before that, the only thing we remembered him for was the block on the punt. Y'all remember that, where he blocked
Yeah.
3 people. So he did the small things while he kept fighting for his time, and he's getting more time. And I hate that we're 12 games into the season before we're really starting to really give him probably the props the kid needs. But I think that goes to the character of the young man and his parents. That I mean, in a world where it'd be real easy for somebody with their influence and their money to be a thorn in Elko's side and be making things, you never see any of that. So
No.
props to
Yeah.
that family and that kid. So you got
For
anything
sure.
else before we move on to the bad, Seth?
No, that's
Okay.
it. Nailed it.
So going on to the bad, I was frustrated. We have a group text that we do during the game, and I was very frustrated that we were not committing to the run game enough with the running backs. I said it in the first half. And it's and I'm not in the meeting room, and me and Seth talked about it too. Look, we saw the same thing. There's holes in that secondary. Mississippi State lit them up for dang near 400 yards. So I get it. But I'm of the belief that if you do not have an established run game with the running back, you're going to struggle in this league. And you can see here, these are runs by the running back. Okay, not yardage. This is how many times we specifically handed the ball to the running back. And I understand after this Florida game, we lost our number one guy. I mean, Moss is the alpha of that room. I love EJ, love Owens, love Morrow, love all those guys, but Moss is the alpha. So you see how it dropped off after the Florida game. And look, Reed has done a great job. And I know we run a ton of RPOs and we give Reed that option to give or to pull and all those things. But I think we have to establish a run game, especially in a game like this, where you're going to have momentum changes. It's an emotional game. It's all those things. I think an established run game is very important. So that was my bad. That was my frustration because I really do think we had an advantage on the offensive line versus their defensive line in the run game, and I did not think we utilized that or attacked it like we should have, especially as Seth and me talked about. You got into the game, you realized that they were going to keep that very soft shell. They were going to bail. They were going to, so, like Seth said earlier, how do you attack that? You throw it underneath, you get yards after contact, you run the ball. And for whatever reason, and this is the first time I'll say this all year, for whatever reason, at halftime they should, I get it, maybe the first, second quarter, you can't make that adjustment, whatever, but at halftime, you should have been able to take a deep breath, discuss that, see that, and attack that. So that was my bad for the day. Seth, what did you have?
I'm just gonna parlay off that with you. Um, we watched the game. Texas majors in cover 3, but they ran, especially late, a lot of 4 and 2
They
read
do. Yeah.
as well. They weren't spinning down the safety as much as they usually do in that cover 3 look. And yeah, you just gotta. I mean, so I think it gets into this discussion that I've had with people offline too about. I'm gonna use the Oakland A's as an example, like your analytics and your reports and your heat maps and all that, and that's great. I mean, like I said, film data. That's what you need to use to make a game plan. But I know, and I'm gonna be honest with you, like Division I football, film and analytics can very well, you get into the game and usually they are on the money with what exactly is going to happen because there's just so much access to it and the talent disparities are so narrow there. But you and I know, us high school guys know that you get the Friday night, you might as well wipe your bottom with the reports you just looked at because the flow of the game can change in a hurry. And sometimes I wonder if we get a little married to our data and our analytics. And so, where we saw it. And I know the reports are going to say it. These guys have gotten picked apart all year long in conference play via the intermediate passing game. We said that last week, but when you get in, I'm telling you, the play that just hangs with me, and I said it at the place I was watching, was just the 6-yard run early in the game, first quarter.
Yeah.
It was like a zone
Zone
right,
right.
or a pull lead. Yeah. We
Yeah.
moved the line of scrimmage all 6
Oh,
yards. Our running
Yeah.
back, I
The
mean,
whole run. Yeah. The whole
everybody in
offensive
his
line was pushing.
yeah, this whole
Yeah.
podcast would have got 6 yards on that run.
Yes.
And so I remember I told the guys I was with, I was like, I didn't expect that to happen this early. And if that's going to happen, we need to pound the rock. And so, anyway, to kind of, to copy what you're saying there, yeah, take what they give you. And then, and we talked about it, like what Pete K and what he's elite at building his defense is he knows you're going to try to run it on him. So he's going to put a bunch of run stoppers up front, have one elite pass rusher, and then all of his guys are going to run up and tackle you. And so that's where, it gets into that game of when you do take what's underneath, you have to add to the run as well. So that's where I was like, I think we got a little married to what our pregame plan was and didn't necessarily flow with the game. And I think that's something that we'll see change as we go as well. So I don't know, but that's my thought on what the bad was. Just kind of getting maybe a little too married to the numbers and stuff. So
I agree.
Seth, you say that, and I think about like kind of how we did things at Carthage, and one of the things is you go into the game plan, but at halftime that always changed based on what was happening in game. And I was at the North Texas game during Carthage's playoff game, number 1 versus number 2 in the state. And I said, hey, Carthage is down 17-7 at halftime. Now, my wife, who's not a football person at all, but has seen a lot of football because she was married to a coach, looked at me and said, yeah. And then Scott and Darren are going to do their thing and they're going to win by 2 touchdowns or more. And they did. And because then I think that's the beauty of, look, you throw all that game plan and stuff out the window to a certain extent when you look at what's happening in game. What are we having success with? What are they having success with? Those type of things. And so I think you're 100% right.
And understand, in their defense, they were 11-0 going into this game. So they had done that. Okay. So
absolutely.
I'm not saying this isn't a bash Klein. This isn't,
No.
oh my gosh, they're awful.
No.
This is just one particular game where I feel like we did not commit to the run game enough.
I like to think that the discussions we have here are we're trying to tell you, like, this is a very pseudo version of what goes on inside the field houses on the weekend. If you're a true self-evaluator and you're not as stubborn, you're going to look at yourself and go, what do we do? What could I have done different? And this is
and
kind
to
of us
Klein's
just trying
credit,
to be in his shoes. Yeah.
I think he's done that. I mean, you look at last year compared to this year. I mean, I don't look. If
there's a stubbornness scale,
upset.
we jump from one end to the other from the with the current staff.
Seth,
like, they are one of the least stubborn staffs I've ever watched closely.
Seth,
So.
I will say this, talk about silver linings, so to speak, or what do we do now? One of the things about not playing this week in Atlanta is I believe that Klein, one of the things that Klein has shown, his ability to go out and look and say, hey, what are other people doing? And he will add to the offensive. Now he'll go back and say, okay, here's my personnel that I know really well now after a season, and look at what maybe some other people have done and kind of he's really good at that. And so maybe this
last
time
year in the
off
bowl
is
game.
school. Yeah.
So
I think now that's the extra time, the extra week of self-scout into what do we put down new that other people haven't seen that really fit us is, I think he's good at that. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, no doubt. I wanted to reiterate, this is not a Klein bash.
Absolutely.
I'm a very big fan of him.
I'm the biggest Klein fanboy there is. I get made fun of it. I get made fun of how big of a fan I am.
Anyway, the ugly to me is our punt protection when we punt the ball.
Scares me.
Because
it's a mess.
It scares me it seems like there is no confidence when they're making their calls. It is not confidently, I've got this guy. It's scary. And then our field goal kicker. I don't know.
Kicking game.
Yeah, the kick. It's. I mean, this game didn't come down to a field goal, but I'm gonna tell you that I hope we don't have a playoff game that comes down to a field goal. And kickers are different. Kickers are different, man. I've always compared kickers to your girlfriend or your wife when she's angry and she knows she's angry. You know she is, and you say, "What's wrong?" And she responds with, "I'm fine." There's no way to win that. And when a kicker's not going well and you're trying to talk to him to figure out, that's kind of the response you get. "I'm fine. I'm fine." And you know you're not fine because you're watching the kicks, but you're not getting any feedback. And so, yeah, that's my ugly is the kicking game. So, Seth,
My
what was your
analogy is coaching kickers is like coaching pole vaulters. For those who have ever been anywhere around coaching pole vaulters.
Weird
my
dudes.
daughter's a pole vaulter, so
Oh, so sorry,
Yeah,
Matt.
so you know.
yeah, she's a head case. I'm with you.
It's I mean, it really is. It's like a pole vault. It's like a golf swing in a game where everything is based on a one-on-one and winning one-on-one. The kicker's out there and it's 1v me, basically. Very little input. I mean, sure, yeah, they can block the kick and all that, but like it's like a golf swing, like you can't point somewhere else a lot of times and be like, well, that guy. No, in golf, it's this is the only guy,
Yep.
that's doing it. So it's
Yep.
very similar to that type of neurotic head stuff is more exacerbated.
I'll tell you a story. When I was in junior college, our second year, really what should have been our 4-string quarterback was our punter, kid from San Antonio, and we took we were decimated at quarterback position that year. And so on Thursdays, we would have to use him with the number 2 offense. And it was all our scripted stuff, signals from the sideline, right? So all the coaches are on the sideline, but I was at the huddle because I kind of worked as the referee to spot the ball and if we had a penalty or whatever. And they would do all these hand signals. Well, he would refuse to learn them because he was a friggin' kicker. And so Coach Sartain and those guys would be on the sideline and they would be doing, I knew all the hand signals, so I knew what was, and he would get in the huddle after a play call and go, "You block them, I run them on 7, on 7." That's the mind
you block
of a
them
kicker.
and I run them.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's,
and our
it's a
offense
different
would
breed.
just laugh and they're like, "We don't even know what the play to run."
Look, if anybody watched Monday Night Football last night, I mean, you
Yeah.
just see it. Like it's not, you're not immune to it even in the NFL. It's
Kickers
it's
are a
crazy.
different breed.
They are, man.
They are.
Yeah, I just thought we would run through the pick. And as let's not harp on everything, but just talk about what leads to this and how, like how is Marcel getting coached off this? Because I will give credit to, I got a clip here we'll pull up of that, the very first interception when it was 27-17. And we were trying to go, and this was 3-something left in the game. We had just got a first down. One of those things where it's kind of I know Elko harps on down and distance. And so, I've got this slowed down a little bit, and we're going to watch. I got some still frames to help us break it down a little easier. But basically, you'll see, once again, we talked about it, right? Like they didn't roll the 3 here. They didn't roll Taff into the box. They didn't roll this other safety down. And they are staying in a quarters look, essentially. And when you have a quarter safety versus, this is kind of this is a cover 3 beater where you're going to try to get 2 inward breaking routes on a single high safety in a corner.
You're
not
choice,
accounting for that other safety. So the minute that Marcel sees it's cover 4, he should immediately just abandon this and take what they give you. And so what I'm
tight end
to go to to go to my still frame here, if it'll let me switch. Okay, so here is the moment. You see, if you'll check, Marcel's eyes were initially on the outside receiver go route. The minute he sees that this safety is bailing, along with the corner over the top, that's when, in my mind, and I don't know how he's being coached, and this is one of the things, we're making a lot of assumptions here, but I just see this and say, here's how I would coach it if I was in the quarterback room with him. We ran a cover 3 beater, and if they're in cover 4, it's very hard to beat cover 4 with a cover 3 beater.
Yes.
He probably could have squeezed this throw in here, but we're talking like risk reward ratio here. It's 1st and 10, right? It's 1st and 10.
So Seth, for the people who don't coach for a living, cover 4 is 4 deep. The corner's deep, the safeties are deep. And so if you're running a cover 3 beater versus 4 deep, what's open is down in the flat. You're looking for something underneath or the flat. Correct?
Yes. That's correct. Yeah. And in my next slide, you'll see it. So Taff is a very savvy player. He's been playing a long time in a lot of really big football games, which I think is another factor that we didn't really talk about, is while this Texas team has had a rougher year, they have played in a lot of bigger moments than our roster has up to this point in the last couple of years. So like Michael Taff's played in a lot of big football games. The minute he sees a single vertical route on his side of the field, he knows he can go rob whatever the heck is breaking in. Like he does it. On the next screen, you'll see his hips have flipped and he is immediately running. Now, does he know KC's going to run a dig? Well, he does now because he's put his eyes on it. But he starts running to it before he even flips his eyes because he knows the minute that single high, there was nothing else released vertical on that side of the field, he can go rob the middle. And because that's where you beat cover 4 is deep middle, the middle open. So he's going to go try to rob whatever could be going there, and he does, and undercuts the route and picks it. And so you'll see right there we have it. You take the tight end right there, and yeah, the corner probably runs up and tackles him, but I mean we're looking at probably second and medium, with plenty to play for and plenty of time left. So one of those things where down and distance is a big deal, and I know that I don't even know if it's the concept being done wrong. I think it's the concept being done wrong in the situation of the down and distance that Marcel would be harped on the most, because I know that's a big deal to this coaching staff. They try, and that's probably our guys play so savvy a lot of times, because you're like, man, they really jumped that short route on 3rd and 5. Well, yeah, that's because that's how they've practiced it 1,000 times this year. That 3rd and 5, what teams are going to do to try to pick it up. So anyway, that's the ugly, was just kind of trying to do too much. And football is a game that oftentimes gets punished trying to do too much.
Yes,
oftentimes, if you try to do too much, it's crazy. So
yeah. So
And in Marcel's defense, he's got a guy right in his face. That didn't help either.
He does. No, he does.
That didn't help either. He had to press.
It doesn't help that we have a 6-man protection scheme versus 4, and we're losing on one side of it.
I just wanted to mention that
either.
in Marcel's defense.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So.
All right. So we're going to move over to the defensive side. Mark's going to go over the good, bad, and ugly, and I've got some questions for him as well, because I have some thoughts, and I may be wrong, so I want him to clarify for me. But go ahead and tell me about your good, bad, and ugly, Mark.
I hate to even use this as a good, but I felt like we would give up 28 points to them. That's why I predicted the 31-28. I just felt like their offense is playing better as the year has gone on, and Sark has done a better job as the year has gone on of putting himself in a better situation and scheming mid-game than he has before, even though he's still not great at it, I don't think. And that's what happened. But overall, I felt like we played poorly in spots. Again, it's kind of just who we are now. We're going to be really good at times, and we're going to be really bad at times. And then I will also say that a good for our defense, not a good outcome, but Manning made some plays that he has not made on film before. And I'm going to show one of those clips later, just where he manages the pocket and puts a ball right on the money, even with pressure around him. And I hadn't seen that. So that, the good was we did some good things. We stopped some things. There were some scheme things that I didn't like. And I will say in the bad, our inability to affect Manning, our pressure just wasn't good enough. I thought we had some good pressure, but I thought we would get more sacks on him, and we didn't. And some of that was Manning's play, and some of that was on coaches and players. I'm going to show you some scheme stuff. And I mean, Seth, I don't know exactly. The Manning A gap. Let's look at the A gap escape. I'm going to show you some poor scheme. So if you kind of roll this back to the beginning, can we just stop it right at the beginning, Seth? And let me show you what we're doing and why I don't like this scheme. We are in basically what's called an odd front with a mugged might. York is mugged, but he's going to bail. So if you're going to do that, you better spike one of those guys hard, and we don't. And look at the escape route is right up the middle, which I said going into the game, we needed to affect Manning in his face. Remember, I said D tackles would be the most important, but here we put the defensive tackles in a bad scheme. I've run an odd jet long distance scheme before, but one of the things I used to tell my quickest defensive tackle, whether it was the defensive tackle or the nose, whoever that guy was, the quickest of the two, I would tell him, look, we're mugging the might for protection reasons, but if you get a one-on-one, I need you to go inside. I need you to make that guy overset and then come back inside. And we don't do that.
Which
and
in this situation would have been Hicks.
Yes. And so then he loses that escape route. and we have a better chance to corral him. And then if you go later in a gap or in a play that's really important, we do it again. Now we're in 3rd and 5. We do the exact same thing, and then we run a loop stunt on the outside with that odd, and he does it to us again, and we don't get off the field. I don't think this is good scheme versus what I saw on film. I get it when people are like, if you're doing this against LSU and Nussmeier, great. You just can't do this against guys that can run. And Manning can run. I mean, he's a good athlete. And so I didn't like the scheme of that. So that was a really bad to me. Why would we have this scheme? I understand why we mug. I understand how that changes protection calls, but you better have somebody middle pressure. And I get their center's pretty good, but still, I mean, we just gave him the escape route, and we've done everything right, but schematically, we've allowed this to happen. And so I didn't like the scheme of that.
I will say this. Can I interject real quick? Because, I mean, we all watched the Florida film from, what was that, 5 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago? And this offensive line has made a tremendous jump from that point.
Yes, they have.
They're
still not close to the
forget.
best we've seen.
Oh, no, and no, not at all. That's true. But man, they had Flood. I'll give Flood props. Or is that the O-line coach? I think his name's Flood. Yeah, he's done a great job, because that left guard, left tackle situation was horrible. Just 6 weeks ago.
OU, it was brutal.
Oh,
and
bad.
I'll say one of the things that I saw with their tackles, Seth, is they did not overset, which a lot of people are oversetting to our defensive ends, and they didn't. They turned their shoulders to run them, and that was well coached by them. Don't overset.
Speaking of that, next play that I wanted us to talk about. I haven't stopped before the touchdown because I wanted to be able to show you.
Here he escapes to the defensive end side, and they just turned their shoulders. They didn't overset. Just look, I'm going to short set to make you think you can turn the corner, and then I'm just going to run you. Yeah.
And that's where they're, we talk about, not to get too in the weeds here, but one of the biggest, when Cassius goes to the draft and you listen to the NFL draft talk, one of the biggest knocks they're going to have on him is his length. And you wonder, why does that even matter? This short, fast guy can run the hoop. Well, you're seeing a clip on why length matters, because you'll see that the long left tackle is using his length against him there a little bit.
He is.
Would you agree there, Mark?
Yeah, and then you have this stopped right here, and I'll just say this. One of the things you teach a safety in zone is if you have no pressure in your zone, find work, because of the quarterback getting out, he's not a pull-up guy. Go find that crosser right there. He's just sitting down guarding grass or really bad turf in this case.
That's one of the first things, and this is just my little, and I know, Mark, you probably do, like if you watch a team defensively and they're playing zone, if you watch their helmets, you'll tell real quick about how comfortable they are playing that zone. And on this play, there was none of this going on. There was no searching.
And there's 2 ways that people coach zone concepts, and one is the old school when we first started running zones was you got to see the quarterback, got to see the ball thrown, and that's true. Right. But if you're not matching routes, great, you get to see a touchdown throw. You saw it. You saw it leave his hand. You saw a guy make the catch, but you did nothing. At some point, it's like you need to have basketball zone concepts. See ball, see man. See ball, see man, and that has to be taught every day. See
it's
ball,
hard.
see
it's
man.
Not natural.
It is not natural.
because it feels it's like almost a safety or a comfort blanket when you are a DB and you get a zone and you think, I can just watch the quarterback the whole time. This is awesome. You know what I mean? I've got this zone. Watch, it's easy. Searching is hard. That's hard and dangerous because you think you're going to miss something.
But there's nothing. There's nothing. He's not gonna. There's nothing in his face but the quarterback. And linebackers are pull-up guys. You need to see, is there a threat? All he has to do is make that cloudy. Then Manning's just going to run with it.
Yeah. Next clip I got. It shows. Go ahead, Matt. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
So the next clip is the Sanford coverage. Like we said, we don't know if it's Sanford or Lee, but somebody blew man coverage here.
What clip number is this so I can?
This is number 4. Number 4 on the deal there. So it's you can see down here Sanford and Will Lee at the bottom of your screen.
Yeah.
and that switch
Hang on.
release with the tight
So
ends gets them.
so yeah, this is the one. So yeah, so you have a tight end wing, and so you have a corner, you have a linebacker, and you have a safety. And so this is a big screw up. You have a safety down there too. So
Mhm.
we have two people get the back out right here. Will Lee takes the drag, the inside tight end, I guess. I'm
Mhm.
running it too fast here.
Sorry, yeah, I should
And
have slowed it down.
this is where we would run what's called a trio. And that means, okay, if the safety's got the flat, he'll have the back. Then that'll
Mhm.
lead the drag to the linebacker or vice versa. And then the corner, you're just going to take the deepest vertical threat. And we end up letting the deepest vertical threat go. And that is a major coverage bust on somebody. We don't know who. It could be the
We don't know who.
linebacker. It
Right.
could be the corner. I don't think it's the corner because I think we were playing some sort of 2-man, or I don't know. I
Looks like
really don't
two-man
know.
under to me.
It kind of, but at the top
Yeah.
slot, it doesn't look like 2-man under. It's the only place where it doesn't. So I don't know if we're running a half. Again, that's what I would have run. I would have run something like that up
Yeah.
top, but I would have run some
Plus,
sort of trio.
Ratcliffe goes to the deep middle like it's some type of version of one on the bottom, which we combo coverages like crazy under Elko with the one on the bottom half
Yeah.
and some type of maybe either way. But like, I know in the game people see this and think, "What's Ratcliffe doing over there?" Well, that wasn't his responsibility, you
Yeah.
know. But this was an example of. Would you agree that this is probably day one install or day two install? This
Maybe
type of
not.
situation.
I
Okay.
would not. As a secondary coach, I would not make this day one or day two. This is hard switch release type stuff, and so I would get us all our basics, and then I would say, okay. In the case of Sark, he runs a lot of switch release stuff, a lot of it. And so I would rep this over and over, whether it's a bunch look with 3, it's the same thing as a bunch. You've got 2 receivers at the point, you've got 1 coming to the flat. So I would rep it like that, switch release type stuff. Hey, we get tight end wing because we know the back is a threat always in this offense. Let's go ahead and switch release this stuff. And let's let people take the route that comes to them instead of tagging it at the beginning. I think we tagged it at the beginning and somebody tagged it wrong even then, because we end up with literally the shallow middle release guy is open because Will Lee is trailing him so far, and then we just totally let a guy go. And I know this, no matter what the install is, Seth, we're not releasing a guy free day 1, day 2 coverage stuff.
Very good point.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Well, let me ask you this at least. Maybe it's not day one, but what percentage of reps does this get? This is something that you put a lot of reps into because it's not easy. That's why we
So I
bust
will
it.
say
But
this. When on all our coverage stuff, one of the things that we did was we ran what we call half field. And we ran half field like a lot of people do this. They go individual, technique period, then they go inside run and 7-on-7, right? We always threw in there half field, especially against passing teams. Let's run a half field. Let's talk about, hey, we're running half field coverage on just this side. 3 receivers to this side. How are we playing this in this coverage? How are we playing it in this coverage? And what are we checking to in certain situations? And so we repped half field more than anybody on the planet my 10 years at Carthage. And it was some of the best stuff we ever did, because the other thing is when we got stuff in game and people were doing certain things to attack the way we played zone, we could break that down for them guys at halftime and say, hey, look, when they show us this, then we're going to switch it off differently. And they've repped half field so much, it just became second nature to make the adjustment.
oh yeah, yeah.
So,
I'm gonna pull up that last clip. The Manning making a pretty good play in the pocket here.
So I said I wanted to give some kudos to the bad scheme. So here's good scheme. And I said, we need to pressure him in his face because he doesn't make good throws. Well, here we get somebody. He resets himself in the pocket because there's so much pressure, and he made a dime throw. And this is where his
The
overthrows.
touch on that ball is ridiculous.
He's made overthrow
not two
after
ball.
overthrow after overthrow with pressure, right? Just like this all year long. We've seen him make bad throws right here. And he made and he made an unbelievable throw. And so some of that was his play has gotten better. This is why people say he's going to be a good NFL quarterback, because he does have the ability to do this. Now, he has not shown this a lot. This is the reason they got beat by Florida. Because he didn't make this throw, but he made it against us in a big time situation. And I think it's the difference in the ball game, because if we keep that game a 1-score game, whether we make the field goal and keep it a 1-score game, or we go to tighten the game up here and it's a 1-score game, we got to get him off the field. And he makes this play. And
I got to say, it's a rare case of Marcus Ratcliffe bad eye discipline, because he peaks.
No, I get that.
Caught up.
But again, he had to make a perfect throw.
Yeah, I agree. He nearly recovered.
He had to reset himself in a closing pocket with Cassius right in his face, and he did it, and that hurts, and that sucks. And so some of it is bad scheme, some of it is their play, some of it is our lack of discipline. It was just a perfect storm at times, and they did it when they needed to do it, and you know, we just got to get better. We got to get better making sure we know
what the
all
good
our
thing
checks.
is, Mark? Good thing
What's
is
that?
we get a chance to get better because we're still
we
playing.
do, and
right.
you know, and they're going to be hell in the Liberty Bowl.
They are. That's why I told some
bad
of my buddies.
matchup for whoever gets. Bad matchup for like Minnesota or
Minnesota in the
I don't know if
Alamo
they're
Bowl.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's what I was getting a bunch of texts from. I grew up in Austin, unfortunately, so I was getting a bunch of texts.
Yeah, I bet you did.
I said, enjoy yourself at your holiday bowl out in San Diego. It's nice this time of year.
Yeah.
I'd
like to point out the last thing I had on the defense was these Sark Dedsky. They have not been good in the run game, but Sark got us a few times in the run game here, and I have a still frame to show you. Pre-snap, we're lined up with an under looking front to the tight end, but I'm just never a big. I mean, I coached in the wing tee, so you got to forgive me, but I've never been a big fan of an under front with the corner as the force player.
I agree.
No, ever.
And that's what we have here. So
Will Lee is lost ball and high weeds.
Yep.
And they gash us with like a buck sweep top.
Yep.
And the only way that play gets blown up, believe me, I've seen it a million times. The only way that gets blown up is if you have your force player come and kneecap that pulling guard and blow it up in the backfield. And then it gives you time. You're not lined up greatly, but it gives your linebackers time to get there. And when you have that soft of an edge. Go ahead, Mark. What were you saying?
So you talk about coaching in that 1950s offense you just mentioned, and that's pretty simple stuff.
It is.
They give you a inside 7 technique to a tight end side. You know you can pull 2 and they're toast. You have to have a stand-up 9 to deal with that.
Yep. And you may wonder sometimes why do teams run this, like the sweep plays into the boundary so much? Well, modern day defenses have taken the Sam out of the game and put in a nickel at all times.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and so
now you're
back in the day, or if I'm coaching in the wing T and we had even if we had a wing over here, look, it's just because we're in the wing T doesn't mean we wouldn't put our wing over in twins and do this exact same play. We did that all the time. But there would be a Sam linebacker in the game, not a nickel, playing 9 or an 8 technique right there to stop that play from happening. Well, unless the one time in the playoffs they refused to do that. I meant to talk about this earlier. Married to the analytics, a few games leading up to the playoff matchup we had ran the crap out of weak side jet sweep and gashed people with it because they were overloaded to our wing side to stop the buck sweep. And when I'm in the press box, and when we get on that first series, I am seeing the mic declare the strength away from the tight end in the wing T. They are rolling their strong safety and their Sam to the weak side. And we had repped jet sweep strong all year. Hardly ever did it because you run just regular sweep wrong. But I'm telling the offensive coordinator, because me and him work in tandem, I go, I know we've repped it all year and hadn't ran it. We got to run jet sweep till they stop doing that. And I think the strong side jet sweep averaged about 18 a carry, and we won the game because they were married to the report. The report said, "Oh, they're hammering this week. We're just going to call strength over there." Which I don't know. Maybe that's what you do, but they didn't make an in-game adjustment till way too late so against us either. But one last time, we went later on in the second half, and we talked about this a little bit. Made some changes. Went to more of a like we're going to try to 2-gap here and let our linebackers run, but we've still got the same situation
this is our odd front now. It's the same thing with an odd front, and now you have the same thing as soft edge to a
Yep.
tight end.
Yeah, it was those two, and this one didn't go for 20 or nothing, but still, a team that struggled to run the ball, if you give them that by alignment, that's what they want. You know, Sark is seeing that and going, thanks. So
One
That's
of the
exactly
things that
right.
we did when we line up in our odd front at Carthage with that guy is that guy that's on the tight end side, just go ahead and tow him in and have him collapse the tackle to close the B gap out to let the linebacker scrape over to that. And that's
yeah.
his only job then. It's not a two gap. It's like, hey, we just want you to collapse it. That means you're in your gap and you've collapsed the other gap, and that's how you two gap it. It's a different philosophy. Instead of just trying to guess, just collapse the whole freaking thing and let the linebacker scrape over you.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was the good, bad, and ugly. Like I said, the good thing is we're still playing, so we'll get to hopefully get some corrections there. We're going to talk about pretty quick these SEC hires because my gosh, how many coaches do we have? I mean, Elko might be one of the senior ones, and he's only been at SEC 2 years. It's crazy.
We have to spell
can we real
different
quick
now,
just be
too.
so thankful that we're not in this mess like we usually would
100%.
be.
So, first thing I want to say before we go into individual coaching, I want to get on a rant, and Saban did this on game day, and he was 100% correct. We have got to, and I say we like we have some insider, but as an organization, the NCAA football has got to develop a calendar to where coaches cannot be poached during the season. It needs to go to an NFL model where,
Yes.
look, if I want to talk to the New York Giants head coach about coming and coaching the Green Bay Packers or whatever organization I'm a part of, I have to wait till their season's done. Okay, I'm not a Lane Kiffin fan by any stretch of the imagination. That guy is a clown. And the way, I mean, he's like having a 16-year-old as a head coach the way he acts. But anyway, but and I'm not an Ole Miss fan. They're my second least favorite school in the entire SEC behind that burnt orange team. But I don't think it's right for that university or those kids to now have to go into the playoffs without their head coach. I think that's awful.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So they shouldn't be allowed to talk to coaches till the season's over. And I don't know how you go. I don't know.
Saban addressed that. He's like, you got to change the windows for the portal.
No, that's what I was about to get to.
Yeah, they have to go to the new school because they have to start recruiting.
Oh, I get why he did what he did, but
if
that's
you
what
close
I'm saying.
the
So
portal in the signing days,
the first
you can
thing
wait till the end of the year to fire your coach.
Yeah, first thing you got to establish is some kind of parameters to eliminate these coaches having these conversations before the season's done. Okay. The second one is you're 100% right. In my opinion, you shouldn't be able to talk to a sitting head coach until after the national title game. Until the season's over. Now, I'll be honest, I think it's different for coordinators, assistant coach. If I'm a defense coordinator, offense coordinator, and they want to come talk, that's different because that's kind of everybody's dream is to become that head coach. But for setting head coaches, I think they're off limits until after the national title game. Then you're exactly right, Mark. The portal does not open till the season is over.
January 1st.
Yeah, well, I would prefer after the national title game, but
on that note, I think as much as I hate to give this guy credit, I think Lincoln Riley made a good point yesterday in some little clip I saw that he said it would be a radical change, but the season needs to be wrapped up by Christmas or New Year's Day.
Yeah,
I was like, that actually makes a lot of sense.
Whatever you want to do, but I don't think the portal opens till the last game of the year.
I agree.
Because you're going to have kids. I remember last year there were kids on the Ohio State team that were going into the portal and they were playing in the national title game. Like it's crazy. And then you got to get rid of this early signing period.
Yes.
You got to go back to the one day in February. That way that if you do those three things now, a coach like Lane doesn't feel like he has to leave now because he doesn't have to worry about the portal. He doesn't have to worry about signing day. I'm going to go there whenever Ohio or Ole Miss's season ends. And that'll give me a month or 3 weeks or however long it is to lock down my recruiting class, to get ready for the portal, all those type of things. But they've got to get this under control because I'm not an Ole Miss fan by any stretch of the imagination. But that's not right to those kids, those families, those fans. I mean, can you? I just put myself in their shoes. Luckily, we're not. I think Elko is happy here, and I know Penn State looked at him, whatever. Penn State, what a mess. Anyway, but I bet they'd like James Franklin back right about now. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. They've got to get Saban was on that 100%. But we'll go through these hires real quick. Arkansas went with Ryan Silverfield from Memphis. The guy won 10 games in 23-24, went 8-4 this year. I don't think he's going to set the world on fire, but in my personal opinion, he's probably the best Arkansas can get right now.
Well, I'll say this from a guy that's been following the American like the last few years with my alma mater being in it and my daughter dancing up there. The Memphis fans have been calling for his head this year because he lost some games he should not have lost. They were predicted to be in the championship game, and they lost some games they probably shouldn't have lost. And he's kind of always had a little more talent at Memphis than a lot of the other American schools. So that one kind of makes me laugh a little bit. Hey, he may go do great things.
But here's the deal,
nobody will
Mark.
ever.
Who else is Arkansas going to get? Nobody wants to go to Arkansas
I have an
right
idea.
now.
I have an idea. They should have just went, don't laugh. They should just go Paul Johnson 2.0 and understand we can't spend with the rest of these SEC teams. And then basketball and baseball have a bigger pie share anyway at this school. Let's just go hire like the Army guy, Monken, and just try to be. Maybe we can win 10 games in a magical year whenever we have the lead and going into the fourth.
And that offense would at least keep scores close because you'll hold on to the ball forever.
You can go pay at a discount for a kid who's like, hey, they're asking you to play slot. We're going to let you play quarterback. I know that sounds crazy, but in this new Moneyball era, somebody's going to do it again. Somebody's going to try.
Let me tell you,
Georgia Tech went to the Orange Bowl. They would have made the playoffs one of those years under Paul Johnson one time.
Let me tell you something. Here's what I would have done if I was Arkansas and they didn't do it. I would have gone to Petrino and I said, look, if you can guarantee us a legitimate defensive coordinator, we'll hire you. And he would have found him one. And he was the best coach. He's a lot better offensively than the Memphis guy. Just get ready.
I agree. All right, LSU, they got the Snake, Lane Kiffin. Here's the deal.
Great hire for them.
He's going to win you some games, but just like he did at Tennessee, just like he did at USC, just like he did it for the Oakland Raiders, he is going to burn them at some point. He is going to burn them. He can't help it. He cannot help himself. He's going to score
die
points.
by the sword.
Yeah, but I can tell you, Ole Miss put up with a lot of things behind the scenes that most universities wouldn't. So it's going to start out great. They're going to be lovey-dovey, great. He's going to win some games, and something's going to happen, and that thing's going to implode like you've never seen before.
He's going to be hard to deal with because he does put a good offense on the field. They're going to be better offensively next year, like overnight.
Yeah.
The DC hire's a big one, but you guys know as well as I do that you could almost have ChatGPT call your defense at LSU and probably be pretty good. And it's so it's going to be it's a huge gamble, and I saw that he has, is it 80% buyout on the $84 million?
Yes.
Wow.
So much for
right
the
after
politicians
that governor
in Louisiana.
Right after that governor.
Yeah, we're not doing that again.
Not doing that again.
I got to say, it's a perfect fit for them. What is Louisiana known for? Crooked politicians. Now they have that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is a perfect fit.
Ole Miss, I'm going to be honest with you. Ole Miss probably did the best they could have done in this situation in a world where everybody's going to jump in the portal and we're 2 days away from the daggum signing day for early recruiting.
Yeah.
Pete Golden, he was the DC under Saban, comes from that tree, and that short of notice and what ended up happening to him, that's probably the best situation for that university.
Yeah. Tough situation. I don't envy him at all.
No, and then Auburn.
Hey, if there's a university that's experienced it and did the same thing, it's us, just in a different sport.
Yep.
So
Auburn went with Alex Golish. Look, I'm gonna call him Billy Napier. Yeah, I was about to say I'm gonna call him Billy Napier 2.0. I mean,
Billy Napier 2.0 went to Florida. Summerall. They have the same resume.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Exact. Yeah. But he's the same guy that just left there.
Yeah.
It's amazing to me.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
Same offense.
You're right. I got him mixed up. John Summerall's Billy Napier 2.0.
There's no doubt.
And he went to Florida. And guys, First of all, he's Billy Napier. How are you as a Florida fan or alumni? And we fired Billy Napier, and we were going to get Lane. They just kept preaching, we're going to get him. We're going to get him. And Lane snubs you to go to LSU, and now you turned around and hired you paid how much they paid Billy Napier to go away? $34 million or something, wasn't it?
I don't know.
And now
Like
you've
that.
hired his twin brother.
I mean,
So the best hire, in my opinion, may be Kentucky with Will Stein, the OC from Oregon. He may be
It's
the best
different.
hire.
It's at least different.
Yeah.
So
Smart.
LSU got rid of a shady guy in my mind, and they
100%.
brought in a shady guy. Now he's a more
Shadier.
talented shady guy.
Yeah, I think he's shady.
And then Napier, they run Napier off at Florida, and they hire a clone of Napier. Auburn, what was the Auburn coach? I can't think of it right now. The guy that was at Auburn this year.
Oh, Blindside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They got rid of him and hired a replica of him on offense. Look, I've watched Golish at South Florida. They've had better athletes than everybody in
most
the
talented
American.
team in the
It's not even
Yeah.
close to the talent
Yeah.
level that they have in the American athlete wise. But he runs it wasn't his scheme. His quarterback ran all over the American. He's 6'4" and 230 pounds, and he's hard to
He's
tackle.
a beast. Yeah.
He's a beast, and that's not good luck is all I can tell him. Good luck.
Yeah. So just thank goodness we're not in that boat. And we're going to revisit our
think
preseason.
Auburn should have just hired Durkin. I know they talked
should
about
have.
doing it. They should have just hired Durkin and let him go out and hire. But I'm glad they didn't. Anyway,
me too.
I was a little fearful that they would, but now I'm worried Durkin is about to be the DC at LSU as well, which is
He worked with him at Ole Miss.
Situation for us. Yep, exactly. But
That's a bad
I do
situation.
think Sumrall. There is some people I've talked to that think Sumrall is better than we think. I don't know. I just a dissenting opinion. So, but I'm with you on Golish.
I had a former player that played under him, and I had an extensive conversation with him last year before he left, and all I can say is good luck.
Okay.
Good luck in this day of NIL and portal and being able to move from team to team when you aren't straight with kids. That's all I mean, good luck.
That's.
I'm wrong.
Brutal
I don't
honesty.
know.
Brutal honesty is what Elko's known for, and I think that plays well in this era. So.
All right. So predictions and how it turned out. Mark, I'm gonna let you go last. I had us going 9-3 on the year with losses at Notre Dame, which didn't happen, losses at LSU, which didn't happen, and a loss at Austin, which unfortunately did happen. I'm glad I was wrong. I'm glad that Elko has established we can win on the road. We can win big games on the road. We didn't this last week, but that doesn't mean that, you look at a pattern and the man has proven that he can get it done consistently. So, very happy I was wrong with that prediction. Very excited about the playoffs and what we have moving forward. So that was my prediction and what I had. Seth, what'd you have?
I went 9-3 with losses to Notre Dame, Missouri, and Texas, which I was worried about that Missouri game from the very beginning, just because of
It was right after the
timing
LSU
of it.
game. Yep.
Yeah, the timing of it gave me pause. And I think it's one of those. I don't know. We won. I mean, looking back on the season, we won 2 of our 3 Power 4 road games at night. And if we can do that every year, we're going to be okay. I'd like to win. Don't get me wrong. I'd like to be 3-0, but if you ever can dig in on, especially road SEC games at night, those are really hard to win.
They
Those
are
are really hard to win. And our guy, Lane Kiffin himself, is the one. I mean, I knew it that he turned me on to.
Oh, he'll be happy
quarterback
now. Remember how
ratings.
many times he complained about LSU always getting the night game?
That's right.
He'll get them all.
That's
now.
what he was
He'll
talking
just
about.
be happy.
He was telling the reporters, look up quarterback like ratings and quarterback changes in performance on a road game at night in the SEC, and it is well, we witnessed it, right? Like we just witnessed it happen. And so the fact that we went 2 of 3, I didn't. That was kind of feeding in. I thought maybe the Missouri game would be a sneaky night game too, So I was worried about that, and of course Notre Dame, we knew it was a night game. So yeah, that was. We have overachieved, in my opinion, which is great. We overachieved last year too, in my opinion. So
yeah.
So.
All right, Mark, tell him about what you predicted and how it came out.
I predicted we'd be 11-1, and I just didn't feel like we would run the gauntlet. I felt like we would beat Notre Dame. I just did. I don't know why. I just felt like we would recover with. I thought we would have beat Notre Dame last year if Marcel would have played quarterback even as a first go round, just because of the way they play. I did pick our loss to LSU because I had to pick a loss, and I'm never, ever, ever going to predict us losing that game to those people. So I chose LSU because it's the hardest place to play at night. Now it didn't end up working out that way because they were backpedaling at that time. So I had us at 11-1, and we're at 11-1. I thought that would be enough to get us to the SEC championship game, but it was not.
Yeah, it just the way it fell, and everybody wants to say, "Oh, you played a soft conference schedule." Well, preseason,
There's no such thing in the SEC.
I know, but preseason, y'all thought South Carolina was a top 10. You thought Florida was top 15.
LSU.
You thought LSU was top 10. You thought Missouri was top 15. Who else am I missing? I think they had Auburn ranked at one time. I mean, look,
I think it was a consensus that somebody out of Auburn and Florida we thought was going to be really good. I mean, maybe both.
Yeah.
Even though, and that's the thing. This is a zero-sum game. A&M, we're usually the one that ends up at 5-3 at best, or 4-4 in conference. And if A&M goes 6-1 or 7-1 in conference, somebody else is in bad shape.
Well, and I'm going to say one more thing before we get done here, because I've already seen something on Twitter today. Expect all Power 10 or Power 4, whatever they call them, Power 4 conference teams to eliminate these big non-conference games, because UT is going to say that they're not in because they went and played Ohio State, and if they're not in because they lost to Florida. I hate to break it to you can say the Ohio State game, whatever, that's fine. You're not in because you didn't beat Florida. But
and South Florida did beat Florida in Florida, just for the record to those people.
Yeah, so I think you're going to see Alabama actually has already come out today, and they backed out of a game with I'd have to go back and look, but they backed out of another Power 4 game, and I think they were going to add Chattanooga in their place, and you can expect a lot of that, especially in the SEC now that we're going to go to a 9-game conference schedule starting next year. So
Sankey did that too soon. We're going to have SEC schools left out next year because of a 3-loss.
But I will say this: it's going to clean up some of these tiebreakers at the end of the year as to who gets in and why. Because that's just, I mean, I don't know. I don't like the way that it's hard to pick two teams to the championship game if we don't get people playing each other. And so the 9-game will cure some of that.
You're probably right.
I would also like to add that the reason A&M is in this position with the imbalanced schedule that seems quite favorable is only because of conference expansion from two teams that just had to join. So thank you for that. Thank you for that. We did not have to play after 11 straight years of playing Alabama and Ole Miss. We didn't have to play them this year. So appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
Appreciate you guys.
Yep. So, well, we will have another podcast the week before the playoff game once that is all announced, and we'll break down that game and get rolling for that. Like I said, appreciate everybody listening, liking, sharing. Keep those comments coming, guys. We really enjoy them. And make sure that you subscribe and share it with your buddies. Like I said, I'd love to get to 1,500 subscribers before the end of the year. So thanks again, and gig 'em, and we'll get in the playoffs and see where we go.
Tres Amigos, former football coaches turned insurance agents, talking about Texas Aggie football.